Hi guys, Genea Third Eye Gypsy again. So I had my battery or my phone filled up, so I had to compress the file and load it. So the first photo is up, or the first video is up on YouTube. So anyway, back to my ceremony. So I had decided to try to go to the bathroom. So I was like, I have to pee, so I'm, walking myself up the stairs, and I getting up the stairs, and then I get by the door and I sit down and I feel nausea hit me, and I immediately purged, and I hate throwing up more than anything in the whole world. And so it was, a scary experience for me. So I'm just like breathing through it, purging, purge, purge. I'm like, it's okay, it's all right. Just breathe, just get through it. Just trying to comfort myself. And so I had purged about 6 times, and I was breathing and just kind of, seeing if there was more, if I was, all right. And then I just sat and just kind of breathed for a second. And one of the helpers came over, and she brought me another bucket, and I'd asked her if she could take the other one away. And I just kind of sat there, just kind of recentered, and then I was okay, and that's what people had kind of said about when you purge, like you just get it out. They said it's not like a sick, like, throw up, which, yeah, I guess, I don't know, it just hits you immediately and it's coming out. There's no like fighting it. And you just go and go, and it just, I felt better right after too. And that's another thing that people had said, like, you'll do that, and then you'll feel a lot better. And so I was just, I was relieved, and so then I think I went to sit down over by the fire with one of the helpers again, and we were kind of sitting there, and I was talking, and I was just kind of talking to him about how, I was so relieved to get through the experience, and, how it was scary and this and that. And he said, I just needed to kind of look at things in a different perspective. And he said, what did you like about the experience? And I said, it showed me my strength. Because I took everything I had to, like, just go through this entire experience. Like, it was a lot, and I just feel like that's just like the pain and the trauma and the fear and the sadness and the loneliness, and it just, it feels good to get rid of it. You feel lighter. I felt so much better. And so we had talked some more, and I looked to the left, and there was like these bushes with these purple flowers. There was a hummingbird, and I was like, how fitting that there's a hummingbird here, because it's one of the symbols of ayahuasca. And it just felt like, it was just like hope, and it was, it was beautiful. It was like a beautiful ending to like the whole experience. It was like, or it was peaceful. And my 3 words for ceremony, actually, I think maybe I forgot to mention this because I couldn't remember which day it was, but Taita had asked us, what 3 words, in 3 words, describe your experience from your ceremony. And my 3 words were beautiful, terrifying, and peaceful. And, that really fit like everything, because like the storm came in and it was beautiful, and just being out in the grass and all those things. And then, the processing of my dad, that was terrifying, and purging, that was terrifying. And I just feel like that purge was that release from, that experience, that death, and that sadness and heaviness that I've been carrying for like over 3 years now. Since I lost my mom, dad, and Lilu, my first Australian Shepherd. That was my soul connected dog. So I just felt like it, had come around. And then, the beauty was, or the peacefulness was that hummingbird. And I think I was on the upper part of the deck, and we were all looking at the sky because everything out there is so beautiful and open. And we were looking over, and by one of the lakes, there was a double rainbow. And it was so beautiful, and everybody, had kind of noticed it at the same time, and it was bright, and it was just beautiful, and peaceful. And it just, what a journey that day, It was really hard, and I was so grateful again to have like made it through the experience. And I was glad, that I had just let go, I had surrendered. And that's, what people tell you about the experience, is that, you have to surrender, like don't fight. It's just going to make it harder and worse. And so anyway, after everybody was kind of, talking and getting together, and then a while later when everybody was through the medicine, they had dinner for us. And it was great. I was hungry. I was so hungry. I was like, oh my God, I was so like ready to eat. And they just had all these wonderful fresh foods, and they had like I think it was like quinoa with, I think, peppers and onions and like cucumber and avocado, and I'm trying to think what else I ate. I think they had some other like vegetable stuff. So I ate like, oh yeah, it was like a vegetarian kind of, it had like carrots and cashews, and it had like ginger in it. And I just remember like how strong tasting the food was, because when we were doing dieta before the ceremony, you have to eat like, it just depends. All the dietas are different. It just depends on your shaman and like what they recommend. And we did get to do spices, but they tell you like don't do garlic, don't do onions, don't do spicy food. And so I was so worried it was going to affect my experience. I was actually like a real case about the dieta. I had a hard time. And so it was just like, wow, it was crazy just how strong those flavors are when you haven't had them, in your diet. But yeah, it was so good, and I hung out with my girls, and we talked, and, we just shared our experiences. And, then there was like, okay, last day. So we, got up, we got ready, we were going to do ceremony earlier. And, Taita told us, say, this is an easier day. We're like, okay, sweet. I'm like, awesome, maybe we'll just get like a thimbleful of medicine, And so I'm like, okay, I'm just doing 1 cup today. Okay, I'm not going to do the 2 cups thing. I'm just going to do 1 cup. I'm going to like finish it out, do the thing. And, I had decided to do hape again before ceremony, because it's supposed to help just calm you and get you ready. And I had done it the other day. And it wasn't, it was, it was intense for sure, but it wasn't bad, and it made me cry. I had that crying purge. So, I was like, okay, I can do this again. So I went up to receive my hape, and, it hit me really hard. It was really strong. I was, like kind of like, because you're trying to like hold it in, but not, get it, um, just not swallow anything. And, you have to breathe through and your eyes water and it's like burning. And I was just breathing through it, but I was like breathing short. And, I was having a hard time. And so one of the helpers came and sat with me. And um, I was just really like, as I was breathing through it, I could like feel it in my face, and then it was strong in here, and then I could like feel it in my body. I felt it in my body, and then I just felt it like in my hands, and it was so strong in my hands, just like radiating this vibration. It was just like so strong and so hard, and my hands were like curled up, and I was panicking about it because it was just so strong. And so, she was just telling me, she's like, breathe, take deep breaths, and I was scared. I was so scared, and I felt sick, and I was like, oh my God, like I don't want to purge. Like I'm just like, I was having such a hard time. And, I was breathing through it, and she was like coaching me through it. And um, I'm trying to remember all of it, but it just like, I had finally gotten that feeling out of my hands, and then it like went to my feet, and then my feet were just like this tingling and heavy, and just that energy was just in there. And it was just like, I'm just like, I wanted to get out. I'm like, this feels so uncomfortable. And then I was like, oh my God, I have to go up there and drink, and like, I'm not ready, and I was just scared. And so I'd asked her, I'm like, can I go outside, and just like stomp my feet and try to get this energy out? And she's like, you can't go outside right now. And so she's like, well, she's like, here, like lay down on your belly. And so I was just kind of like moving around, and I was kind of like, had my legs on the mat and just kind of like kicking. I'm trying to just like get that feeling, get that energy out. And actually going back to the hand thing, it was stuck. And then I felt like I had to go to the bathroom. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, can I go to the bathroom? And then so I went, and then I came back, and yeah, I'm trying to think, man. It gets like a blur in between. But so anyway, I still like had the feeling in my feet, and then I started thinking about like the things, and I was like, my dad had pain in his feet too, because he was diabetic and he had Charcot foot, and he was using a walker. And I'm just like, this is like my dad's pain, like his pain was in his feet too. And I was like, Dad, I'm gonna, like in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna heal this for us, I'm gonna heal this for us, I'm gonna heal this for our ancestors, I'm gonna heal this for me, I'm gonna heal this for you. And then I just like had all these thoughts, and I was like, my feet hurt so bad because I'm carrying all this pain, I'm carrying all this weight. I'm like, I don't have to carry it anymore, I can let it go. And I'm like, I can let it go, I don't have to carry this anymore. And so I just was like kind of working it out, and it was, just going through me. And I'm like, just trying to like release this. And it finally like, I just like kept telling myself like I didn't have to carry all these things, and I didn't have to like hold all the space for people, like I could hold it for myself. I didn't have to like do all these things for everyone anymore, and just needed to work on me. And so then I finally got this like tingling out of my feet, because I'm like, I couldn't even get up and walk up there to like take the medicine. And then after that, I was like, fuck, I can't believe I have to like go and drink. And like, I was like, man, I really like, I don't want to fucking do this, but I felt like I needed to, finish up my last day. And so, I apprehensively go up, and I'm like, God, I go and I, go to take the medicine. And you go, like, when you take it, the easiest way to get it down is like, because like the first time you don't know what it tastes like, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever. But then like the next day you're like, oh my God, I know that's gonna make me sick, and so it's hard to keep it down, because it can come back up. And so my spiritual teacher had told me the best way to drink is when he offers you the cup, you breathe out, and then you hold, your nose. You just hold it inside, you don't hold your nose, but and then you swallow the cup, and like you breathe, and then you take a few sips of water, and you still like kind of hold here, and that allows you to not taste like the entire drink. And then when you take those little sips, it just helps you get kind of that like acidy, like strong taste out. And then it's like, if you can kind of get past there, then it's like, you know, it can go down and sit and do what it's supposed to do. And so then, you know, he said that we could go outside again. So, you know, we went to go find a spot, and I took my blanket out there and just like went to lay down. I laid like face down, and I just couldn't get comfortable. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, okay, you know, again, Mama, like, please keep this light for me. Please keep this gentle. And, you know, I kept saying that. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe, you know, maybe my body's like, okay, you're good. You know, we just had this big release with the hape, and, you know, you'll be fine. So I'm like rolling around. I'm just so uncomfortable. And I'm like, God, I just can't get comfortable. And I'm like trying to focus, but I'm like, I really don't want this, you know. So I was really fighting that day. And then all of a sudden I feel it move through me. And then bam, you know, all the visuals, again, super intense visuals, but we're out in the daylight. So it's like, even with your eyes closed, it's not as like intensely bright. It kind of dissipates things. And so I'm just, you know, kind of like laying there, and, you know, all the imagery is going all over, you know, and all the patterns and everything. And then I feel that like that kind of weight of it, just like it folds down on top of you and just kind of like, you know, spreads over you. It's like almost like a blanket. It's like put over you, but it's like, you're like, oh, you know, just kind of like weighed down by it. And then it's just like all happening over you. And I'm just like trying to breathe through, and I'm like, fuck, like I just, you know, I just want to get through this. I just want to be done. And, you know, so it's going on, and I'm like closing my eyes, and I can see the imagery, and then it's like starting to get like kind of dreamy and almost white. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. I don't want to go out of my body. Like, I'm not trying to have an ego death today. This is supposed to be the light day. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get through this experience. And so I'm like breathing, kind of like moving around a little bit, just so that I can still feel my body. And, you know, it finally, it's, you know, like we're out there for a while, and then I go to like, after it got less intense, than I had like opened my eyes, you know, because like I said, again, like if you open your eyes, the intensity is less. I mean, it still puts visuals all over things, but you know, and it just makes things look different. So I'm just kind of like looking around, like watching things, just, you know, trying to get through the whole thing. And let's see. So then, you know, the medicines, it's, you know, it's kind of like wearing down on me, and I'm like, okay, all right, thank God this is like wearing off. And I'm like, all right. So then I'm kind of like sitting there, and then I'm good. And then, you know, I go up, and I'm like, okay, you know, other people are starting to come out of it too, the people that only took one cup. And I was sitting up on the top deck, just kind of watching everything. And you can see, you know, everybody's kind of like spread out. You can see different people and like whatever they're doing. And so I'm just kind of like sitting there. And then I go and I, you know, see another person that's upstairs. And so I was just kind of like, I wasn't sure if he was like still processing. So I didn't say anything at first. And then, you know, I finally was like, hey, are you, you know, good? And he's like, oh yeah, for sure. And so, you know, he sat down, and we just kind of started talking. And then it was kind of interesting. Then we were talking about weed, and he was talking about eating a lot of edibles, and I'm like, you know, it sounds like awful. And then like I feel like this like, you know, in my stomach, and I'm like, oh no. And so I'm like, oh fuck. And I was like, I gotta go. Like nature is calling. And so I'm like, okay, sweet, you know, because I had also, you know, I had asked, I had to be gentle with me, and I'm like, you know, gentle purges, please, you know, please just let me, like, you know, let me poop it out, let me yawn it out, whatever, you know, cry it out. And so, you know, I go and I get in the bathroom, and I, you know, I have a bottom purge, you know, and then I'm like, okay, whew. And then I feel the fucking medicine pick up, and then the visuals are coming back, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, man, she does not want to release me today. And so I go back outside, and, you know, the other person was sitting out there, and I was like, hey, can I sit by myself for a little bit? It's like nothing against you. I just need to like sit and be in my own energy. And he was cool. So I was just sitting in the chair, and I was like so uncomfortable, and I kept like shifting around and shifting and sitting and shifting. And I'm like, oh God, I just can't get comfortable. And then, you know, then there's other people that are still like doing their medicine thing. And then there's, you know, you're always hearing people purge, you know, and I'm just like, oh God, I just don't want to listen to people get sick anymore. And so, you know, I mean, sending them like good energy while they're, having their releases, but I'm just like, oh man, I just want to just kind of be like in my own energy and just away from like all of like the stimulation again. So I go and I find like another spot on the grass and I sit in this chair and I'm just trying to get comfortable, and it's just like it's awful. It's awful. I just can't get comfortable. That was like the theme for me for that, part of it. It was just like after that happy release, it was like God, it was just so uncomfortable. And then I find, one of my crew, one of my ladies, and she was pretty much done with her process too, and so like we went and like hung out and talked. I was like, oh my God, can we like hang out and talk? And so we, found a spot and we're, on the grass and we're just like talking, and we're just you're hearing everything that's going on, and then they're if there's people that are having big experiences, they'll bring them outside to ground, and so we're just sitting over in the background, just kind of away from most of the stuff that's going on, but we're like seeing the stuff that's happening, and we're like, oh shit, these other things are going on, and we're like, man. And then we're just talking, and we're just, we were both just like so like tired, and we're like, fuck, we just want to be like done with the day, and like we just want to go home, and just all these things. And then we're, it's like we're just like joking and we're laughing, and it just like it felt so good. And so like, because like laughing's also purging, and we were just, it was just us back and forth, and this and that, and just laughing and laughing, and it just, I was like, God, it felt so much better. It felt lighter, because this was supposed to be the easy day, and there were people, we heard like some other stuff too. There was some like people processing some really, really, really like some really hard stuff. And we're just like, oh my God, like this is just going on. And the other things that I forgot to mention is that like through the ceremony, Taita will play, and he'll play like he's got like a flute that he plays, and like the music or the medicine responds to the sound. And then he also has a harmonica, that he'll play with it, and he has this little, it's the leaf rattle, I forget, it's shikapra or something, I think. So he'll, he's like doing the harmonica, shake, and we're listening to the music, and he's like working through, and we hear him go like he's really intensely working on someone. And then we're just hearing like, oh, the purging, and we're like, oh my God, this poor like person is like going through it, and we're just like, fuck, and there were, at that time, there were a lot of people that were going through some heavy experiences, and I don't remember if he called third cup or not, or if they had just done 2 cups, but it was like the energy was like really intense. There were a lot of people experiencing like really heavy stuff at the same time. And her and I were just like, oh my God, like this was supposed to be the easy day. We can't believe like, like this is like an intense day. This feels like another like, another like work day, another one of those really, hard days. And, then we're talking for a while, and, then it's like we hear it and it's quiet. And then it's peaceful and it's settled, and it's like everybody was finally just, like everybody was kind of through their experiences and kind of coming back down and like grounding back in. And then so finally they had like called us up for dinner, and I had opened the door, and I could smell garlic, and I was like, oh my God, is that garlic? And they had garlic bread, and they had pasta, and they had risotto, and they had this amazing, like, it was like mushrooms and spinach or some kind of like something, and all the food was so delicious. And so we were just eating, and then it was getting lighter, and it just felt so good to gather with everyone like after the experiences, and like have a meal together, and just be back in this like peaceful, like happy, uplifted state. And then we got to hang out for a little bit, and then at the end, Taita does limpia, so he removes the rest of like any other remaining energies that we might have on us from our experiences. And so we all get in a circle, and we share like our experiences, and just talk about our ceremonies, and then Taita, like, he, like, does his, like, blessings, and, we did, like, he came around and he blew, the tobacco smoke on, like, here, and then, like, on the crown of our head, and then we did, like, they brought around, like, a container with, I'm not sure, water and, like, a mixture, and then we all, scooped it up and, like, washed over our faces, and, like, you wash over the top of your head, and we all, did that too, and, then he came around with, the leaf rattle, and, he closed our eyes, and he, was doing his, like, his medicine things on us, and then it was really, like, it was really great, you know. So then after that, maybe we did the healing thing first, and then we did dinner, but it was just nice, everybody was, like, eating and getting done, and then, they pretty much told us after we ate, everybody, like, you could leave if you want, or you could stay over the next night, and so most everybody decided they were going to clear out. I was trying to decide because I wanted to make sure I was, like, out of the medicine before I came home, and so we just all took pictures and, gave each other hugs and went and, ended our ceremony and came home. So yeah, so that's my journey, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you get to experience the medicine for yourself and that it brings you healing. Love, light, and highest vibrations.